Hey everybody, it's Bruce and Rasha here at WaterBear, and we're having a bit of a discussion today, and the discussion point is, can we ever be truly objective about our music? I'll tell you why I think it's important though, to investigate this and unpick it a little bit, is that it's quite hard to come up with a strategy if you don't know what you've got to work with your own band. If you can't tell where you are and how it fits into the sort of hierarchy of other bands and your audience.
So tell me, when do you need to be objective? For what
well, I think the biggest thing is musical standards. Because obviously objective means something is kind of measurable. Subjective means other people look at it from different angles. So we've got this subjective thing with music. You know, my wife loves the Foo Fighters. I quite like them. There's a different viewpoint there, but you know, at the end of the day, we're talking about professional music, and there has to be a kind of working definition of what good means. And then apply it to your own stuff to keep the thing improving. And the question is, how do we therefore improve if we don't know where we are right now?
So I think that you yourself have to define what good is. Because like good for me, as you just said, is not good for someone else. So you have to kind of know yourself a little bit first.
So I suppose the question we should be asking before we say, are we going to be objective in this world of subjectivity, is what do we mean by good? And is it logical therefore to go, well, let's look at our goals?
Absolutely, because then you're defining good, and what is good? It's your, you set some goals.
So if our goal is to have fun with music and do what we like, then that's a goal. We don't have to worry about the quality of the music, because the main thing there is, the thing we're measuring is, are we having a good time doing it? If you want to play Wembley Arena, and that's your goal, then it's probably less important how you're feeling at a rehearsal and whether you like the bass player.
Definitely. Like, so if you when you said about having fun, or kind of like, I thought of like the punk scene then, that was, their kind of standards of good. They weren't having fun, they were angry, but like their standards of good were definitely different to.
It wasn't about commercial output.
Even though they did end up becoming commercial. And going to talking about like Wembley Arena, so you are then measuring kind of bums on seats. And that's how you measure then, and you kind of that's kind of like your level of good.
So we're deciding where good is. We're deciding then what the measures are going to be along the way. And I suppose if we know we want to play Wembley in 24 months' time, then we probably know what we should be doing this week and this month and this next 2 months.
And I think it's really helpful to have that very, very clear, because then if every single person in the band is aware of how we're measuring, then they can decide whether they want to be in that band or not. Because I think a lot of bands kind of have this tension, because they don't understand the direction that they're going, how they're measuring their direction,
I think that is really common. You've got someone who wants to do it for fun, and is possibly a bit naive about the whole business side of it. Somebody who's figured out a bit, watches like these type of videos, and is really driven, and you often get this
that's it, because they're not on the same page. And so I think it's really useful then to kind of then have these things into place. I think the thing is knowing what you want and knowing who you are, and then making your rules, rules around that.
There is, rules, and setting your own standards.
But
there's a very interesting point that early on in your career particularly, maybe it's a real big blessing to not know your own weaknesses, because I think perhaps you don't even need to be, and the proof of the pudding is in the eating, and if people are into it and people are turning up at your shows, that's all the validation you need.
You first of all have to know that you can't be objective, and so then when you need to be objective, you put things into place.
Like an A&R person.
I've
got one last question that I think affects nearly everybody that watches this video. That I think there's a need for objectivity for a lot of the people that we work with, for one practical reason. There's so many bands. So many bands and artists of all different types, and so many that are good. And the ones that just pop through, good isn't good enough, they're just better. So what's that difference between the 1,000 of bands here and the 3 bands that are there? What is it that's making them better?
Okay, I've got an idea about what that is.
What do you think?
I think that they've done that work. you know, in terms of kind of like really figuring out what they're doing, why they're doing it, you know, what their measure of success is.
Yeah.
I think that, you know, I think the key thing for me is kind of them knowing why they're doing it. Because if they know why they're doing it, and if everyone's on the same page, then everyone's translating that message, you know, and it's kind of like fivefold, and then everything they're doing, the videos,
magnified.
you know, everything has that kind of subliminal message of like,
we know what we're doing. We're heading this way.
This is our message.
Come with us if you want to join this
direction. And then it pokes out because they've done that bit of work.
Yeah. Very interesting.
Yeah.
And the thing about this is, when you get that situation, it has the illusion of effortlessness and simplicity.
Yeah.
So when you're looking at it, it's like, they're just doing their thing. It's just rock and roll, and actually, it's very, very studied, and it's the attention to detail, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know.
But it's attention to detail, and it's kind of a lot of work, but it's still kind of like directly tapped into kind of their true selves, their heart and soul. It's like, why are you doing this? This is really why I want to do it. And just to go back to this kind of objectivity talk, I was just, you know, like, that's kind of like how you can then be objective, because you can then kind of like, is this whatever we're doing, does this align with like why we're doing it?
Yeah.
You know, and then you can kind of like check in with yourself. Knowing that you cannot be objective means that it forces you to kind of put things into place. And one really good way of doing that, again, boils down to really knowing yourself.
Yes.
So you can kind of know your biases, know kind of like how you think, and then just kind of challenge yourself. And that kind of helps you to be objective when you need to be.
And test yourself. And I think that's why there is healthy debate and tension in these bigger bands, because they're challenging each other all the time.
Yeah.
So, you know, maybe it's not, you don't have to keep the peace in the band, but it's that shared values and the why.
Yeah.
Why are we doing this? Because there's a lot of bands out there. Does the world need another one? No. Does it need someone to do something specific and stand for something? Well, yes.
It definitely does.
It does.
Yeah.
Very good. Thank you for listening, everybody. This has been a great debate with Rasha. Tune in for more similar debates. And if you find that music's becoming really important, then you can do this sort of work on a very practical way with your projects at WaterBear, either online or in the heart of Brighton here. Thanks for listening. See you soon.